Hello, welcome back to Mrs. Thompson's classroom. Today we're going to talk about how limits and continuity go together. So here's our objectives. We're actually going to break this into two videos. So the first one here, we're going to talk about using limits to determine if a function's continuity, find points of discontinuity, and then talk about continuity from the left and the right, and therefore we can talk about intervals. Okay, so let's start with these examples. An informal definition of continuity simply means we can trace the curve without picking up our pencil. So looking at these three graphs, let's first of all decide where they're discontinuous. Well, this one, if I trace the curve, right here, I have to pick up my pencil. So that means this one's discontinuous at x equals 2. Okay, let's look at this one. If I trace the curve, I have to pick up my pencil to skip that hole and make the dot. So this one's discontinuous at x equals 2. And this one, tracing the curve, I have a hole, so I have to pick up my pencil. Also over here, I had to come down and I had to pick up my pencil to start back up here. So this one's discontinuous at x equals -2 and x equals 2. Now each of these have different types of discontinuity. This one has a jump. Okay, this one has a hole. We call that a removable discontinuity. All right, and this last one at x equals 2, we have another removable. But at x equals -2, we have an asymptote. We call that an infinite discontinuity. All right, so for a function to be continuous, we have to have the limit equaling the function value. Okay, so this actually requires three things to be true. First of all, the function value has to exist. Okay, we have to have a value for the function at that given x. Also, the limit has to exist. And then finally, if both of them exist, they have to be equal to each other. Okay, so let's take a look at these three graphs we just did and figure out which one of those conditions fails. So for this first one, where we had the jump, then that meant that the limit didn't exist because from the left and the right, we got two different things. Okay. For the second one, the limit exists, but I have this hole. I have the function values down here. So the limit doesn't equal the function value. Okay, for the third one, let's get some of that ink out of my way. For this third one, at 2, notice there's a hole. The limit exists, but there's a hole with no other dot. So f of a does not exist. Okay. All right, so each of those situations failed a different criteria here. Now, what about the third one where x equals, this third graph where x equals -2? Here, f of negative 2 does not exist, and the limit does not exist. Neither of them have a value, so it fails both of those things. All right, so let's see if we can do this without the graph. So the first thing we're going to do is, if we have a fraction, we're going to reduce the fraction. Okay, now from this fraction here, we see that x cannot be negative 1 or negative 3. So f of negative 1 does not exist. F of negative 3 does not exist. So those are our points of discontinuity. Now, the interesting thing here is, because I can reduce this, the limit as x goes to negative 1 actually just becomes 1/2. Because the function doesn't exist, but the limit does, that makes this one a whole. The other one, the x plus 3, did not reduce out, so that one makes that an infinite. Okay. All right, now on piece functions, really what we're concerned with is this boundary. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the limit from the left. Now from the left is this first one. So I'm going to take that to 2 and then put a 1 in, plus 1, and I get a 3. Then I'm going to take the same limit and do it from the right. From the right is this bottom one, where x is greater than 1. So I'll have 1 squared, which is 1. Now these two things are not equal. Therefore, the limit does not exist. So we have a jump discontinuity at x equals 1. Okay, so let's check this one. The limit as x goes to negative 2, because that's where this boundary is, now notice here, because this is just a not equals negative 2, that means I'm going to this one, this top one, this fraction, from the left and the right. So I'm going to do the overall limit, and we're going to see if we can reduce that. And we can. So then when I plug in negative 2, I get 1. Now, so that's what the limit equals. What does the function value equal? 1, according to this right here. So the limit equals the function value, so therefore we're continuous everywhere. Okay? All right, so we can also just talk about being continuous from the left and the right if we're only concerned with the limit from the left and the right. Okay, so if we're talking about continuity on an interval, we have to be continuous at every point inside the interval. And if it's a closed interval, we have to be continuous everywhere inside it and from the right and from the left at those endpoints. So if we look at this graph, we notice that the limit as x goes to 0 of this function does not exist. So we are discontinuous at x equals 0. However, look at this here. This has a dot, whereas this one has a hole. So we know the limit as x goes to 0 from the right is what equals f of 0. So we're continuous from the right at x equals 0. All right. So continuity on an interval. Again, this is a piece function, so really all I'm concerned about is at this boundary. So I check my limits from the left and my limit from the right. So from the left, I'm dealing with less than. That's 3. The limit from the right is where I'm greater than. These are not equal, so I'm discontinuous at x equals 1. Now notice f of 1 is going to use the bottom one because that's where I can equal it. So this one and this one are equal, so I'm continuous at x equals 1 from the left. Okay. Now, 2x squared is a polynomial, so it's continuous everywhere else. X plus 2 is a line, so it's continuous everywhere else. So the intervals would be from negative infinity to 1 and from 1 to infinity. Okay, now let's do this other example. Okay, again, I'm going to check this endpoint. So I'm going to do the limit from the of x minus 1. I'm going to go ahead and factor the bottom, that denominator. So these reduce, leaving me with the limit of 1 over x plus 3, which equals 1 over 4. So the limit exists. Now what is f of 1? Well, here, this is not equal, so I have to do this one. So f of 1 is 4. These two things are not equal, so I am discontinuous at x equals 1. Okay? And it would be neither from the left or the right because the limit existed and didn't equal the function, so I'm not coming towards to 4 from either side. So my intervals would go from negative infinity to 1 and 1 to infinity. All right, now knowing that, we can find some values. So look here, I have a constant k in this function. So in order to figure out what k is, if it's continuous, I'm going to do the limit from the left. And from the left, I'm using that x squared plus 3, which is 7. The limit from the right is going to be equal to 1 plus k. Now, for it to be continuous, these two things have to be equal. So that means I need 1 plus k to equal 7. Okay? That means 1 plus k is either plus or minus 7. So k is equal to either 6 or negative 8. So there are two values of k that would make that true. Let's do the same thing here. So I'm going to take the limit as x goes to 1. I'm going to go ahead and factor the numerator. Whoops. This should be minus. So these go away, leaving me with 1 plus 3 is 4. So in order to be continuous, this limit has to equal f of 1. But f of 1 is c. So c must be 4 to make it continuous. Okay? So next time we're going to talk about a few theorems that deal with continuity, including the intermediate value theorem. Hopefully this helps you have a little understanding of continuous functions. See you next time.